Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to Fiddle Fern Farmstead. So I went out today and grabbed a couple of things because it's starting to get colder here in South Carolina. And something that I like to keep in the fridge is elderberry syrup. So a lot of people use this for like the colds and flu, like if you start to feel like a sniffle coming on or anything like that. It's good to take like a tablespoon of the elderberry syrup. I like to do that and then like fermented garlic honey. So we might do a video on that coming up on the fermented garlic. But today we're going to be making the elderberry syrup. So a few key things that we need for this is elderberries. So I get mine dry. Let's see. So I have 2 cups of dried elderberries in here. You can get them fresh if you can find them fresh. About this time of year, you're not really going to find them, but I have a store in town that I can get my dried elderberries from. There are a couple of places online. I'll try to see if I can link them below. But also Amazon, if you can find some with good reviews, that's a good place to look for the dried elderberries. So 2 cups of those. I also am going to throw in 2 sticks of cinnamon, 2 cloves. So we have our cinnamon, and then not cloves. These are this is star anise. So these are pretty cool. It's not gonna. There we go. So we're gonna do 2 of these in there. These are pretty strong flavor. They have like a licorice flavor to them. So I only do 2 of those. And then I do a maybe a teaspoon of cloves. So I just kind of pinch and throw them in. So it's about a teaspoon. But that's what they look like. So I already have 10 cups of water inside my pot. So in the pot, I just have like a Dutch oven pot. It works really well for this kind of stuff. I need to get a regular like pot instead of doing everything in this Dutch oven. But it works and I love it. So we have that going. I'm waiting on it to go on a boil. And then after that, we'll need 2 cups of local honey. Now, as local as you can get. I know in some places it's kind of hard to find honey that is local to you. But the more local, the better, because it has things that are growing in your area. The bees are getting that pollen from your area, which helps with your allergies and stuff. So a few things about the elderberry syrup. It's really good for like cold and flu season. Helps keep your immunity up. It has a lot of vitamin C in it. And it also has a lot of antioxidants. So it's just good to take for whatever. But we're going to wait for the water to boil, and then we will throw in our spices and our elderberries. And then we'll let that boil and get going for about 30 minutes. I like to let it, steep. So once it starts boiling, I'll throw everything in. I'll cut the pot down to about simmer. Like if you have numbers on your stoves, I turn it down to about 2. So that would be like right above low if you just have high to low on your oven. And then I let it steep for about 30 minutes just to draw out that good stuff from the elderberries. And then once I get that going, we'll come back and see what it looks like. Okay, so the pot just started boiling. So into our pot, we're gonna do the dried elderberries. So 2 cups of those. And then all of our spices, which was the star anise, the cinnamon sticks, and the cloves. And then we're just going to let that kind of return to a boil. So once you see all the bubbles start to form and start getting it, it's going to turn this beautiful purple color. And then I just turn it down to a simmer. So about the 2. So now that I've got everything in the pot, she's on a simmer. We're just gonna let her do her thing, and we're gonna leave her alone for a little while. I'll come in and stir it every now and then just to, check on it. But for 30 minutes, I just like to leave it in there and steep. And then we'll come back for our next step. So I totally forgot one thing to tell you. So I usually put ginger in here. I thought I had ginger because I do that a lot. Like I'll think that I have things in the house and then I get to doing something and I don't have it. So I'm going to use ground ginger. It's not the best. It's better to use it fresh. So if you're going to do this, when you go to the store to get all of your ingredients, get fresh. But I'm going to put some ground ginger in mine. Okay, so it's been steeping for 30 minutes. I am going to turn it off completely and let it cool down. So our next step is to add the honey. And we don't want to add the honey while it's still hot. If we do that, it's going to take out the medicinal properties of the honey. So we want to add the honey when it's about lukewarm, where it's still going to like melt the honey to incorporate it. So going to let it chill for a minute, let it kind of get lukewarm, and then we'll add our honey. So the honey that I got this year is really thick. So it's almost like a solid, but it's really good. I've used it. I already made some fermented honey, and as soon as I'll show you, as soon as you add it into stuff, it gets liquidy again. So let me grab a spoon. It still has like a little bit of thickness to it at the bottom, but I mean it turns right to liquid when you put it in stuff. So I'll add 2 cups of this once we get lukewarm. So I'll come back once this gets lukewarm and we'll go from there. All right guys, we're back. It's about lukewarm now. It's not burning me when I try to taste it. So I'm gonna strain it, get all the berries and stuff out of it. I'm gonna use, we're gonna say a prayer and hope that it holds it all in there. But I have like a little mesh strainer that is really fine mesh that's gonna help us get the elderberry separated from the juice. So you wanna be able to like touch your pot. That's how you know it's pretty okay to put your honey in. So what I'm gonna do, I've already got my jars washed and ready to go. I'm probably not gonna need that many. I went ahead and washed them just in case. I got ahead of myself. But that's that. So we're going to try not to spill this, which is in and of itself we're gonna get the hair out of the way. Right into that strainer, and that's gonna allow us to get more of the juice out. And gotta manhandle the pot to get the extra juice out of the berries. Using the strainer. And then these you can double check. Well, I will double check. But I usually just throw these elderberries out to the chickens when I'm done, so nothing goes to waste. Okay, so we've got all of our berries in here, and I just kind of like to take the flat side of a spatula and press down to get the rest of the juice out of the berries, so we're using everything. So if you don't have chickens, and you can, so I guess when I thought about compost piles and stuff, I was thinking about this ginormous pile of stuff in somebody's yard that takes up so much space. You don't have to have a huge one. You could just start a small one. All the food scraps that you have, coffee grinds, things like that can go into that pile. Grass clippings, stuff like that. So if you want to start a compost pile, this can go in there too. So now that we have all of our juice into the pot, I am going to just eyeball it. The recipe that I found that I've been using for a while calls for 2 cups when the recipe is doubled, which is what I've done. But calls for 2 cups of honey. So our elderberry syrup is lukewarm. It's not gonna mess with our honey. It's not gonna take those medicinal properties out of it. But it's warm enough to where it's gonna melt and incorporate that honey. So I'm gonna eyeball 2 cups of honey into our elderberry juice. That's probably a cup. And then 2 cups. That's probably more than 2 cups, honestly. But I eyeballed it. You can eyeball it too. Nothing has to be perfect. We don't follow rules around here. But then I'm just gonna stir it until I can no longer feel the honey giving me resistance when I stir. And like when I pick it up, I'm not gonna see like the globs of honey. So we're just gonna stir until it's all incorporated. Okay, so I've been stirring it for about a minute or so, and we're already good to go. I'm gonna stir it just a little bit more just to make sure that it's good. Then I'm gonna grab a funnel, and we're going to funnel our elderberry juice, tongue twister, into these jars. Now, in these jars, it can stay in your fridge for 3 to 4 months. I leave mine in there for 4 months. Some people say just 3. I guess it's just a personal preference, but I do keep it in there for about 4 months. And I take a tablespoon a day. So I just you can get like an actual tablespoon, or you could just do like a little sip of it every day. And you're good to go. So because I'm so messy, I'm gonna use a ladle and try to get these jars as close as possible to this bowl so I don't stain the countertop. Ooh, that was loud. Okay. You can put them in smaller jars, so these would be awesome Christmas gifts if you wanted, because if you go to the store and you buy elderberry syrup, it's gonna cost you an arm and a leg and your second child. But this was relatively inexpensive to make. The place that I get my elderberries from, she does it by the ounce, and it's like $2.40 an ounce. And then probably your most expensive item is going to be the honey. But if you wanted to do like homemade gifts this year for Christmas, this would be a great one because it helps everybody out. So my mom has been feeling under the weather, so I told her I would bring her one of these so she can have it in her fridge and start taking some as well. So a quick and easy thing to make for Christmas gifts, or just for yourself in general. I like to keep it in my fridge just for the sake of having it in case one of us starts to get sniffles. It's good to just take it, daily to keep your immunity up. Kind of like if you did what's it called? Airborne stuff. This is just a more natural way. So what I'll do, guys, is I will put the recipe down below, and if you have any questions or comments that you're confused on or you need help with, let us know. So I'll put lids on these and put them in the fridge. One's going to my mom, and then they'll stay in there for 4 months, and I'm sure it'll be gone before the 4 months is up, with us taking tablespoons of it daily just to keep our immunity up during the flu season. So that recipe, guys, made us about we got 2.5 quart jars of elderberry syrup. And like we said in the beginning, this stuff is not cheap in the store, but you know, making it at home for friends, family, whoever you want, is a good way to help with that cost. So if you have any questions or comments, let us know below. Just don't forget to subscribe and click that bell and get notifications on our next videos coming up. Thanks for hanging out with us today, guys. See ya!